Welcome to the Deuce Podcast. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jeremy.
And Jeremy, we are concluding our camp series. We are doing a lovely episode. We are doing Meatballs 2, the sequel no one wanted. I don't think I did. Did you?
Did I want to do it, or did I ask for the movie?
The movie.
Oh, no, I didn't do that, or the other one.
This movie came out in 1984, I do believe.
Yes. This is what George Orwell was warning us about.
Yes, it was. Yes, exactly. It has a 3.6 on IMDb if you care about those things. Also, you can stream it on Amazon. So if you're an Amazon subscriber, congratulations. You can watch Meatballs 2.
And
Meatballs 2 as well. You should. Meatballs 2 stars, Richard Mulligan from Empty Nest fame. Did I say Nest?
Empty
Nest fame. Let's see, some other notable people would be Hamilton Camp.
Yeah.
Right? About John Larroquette. They're the rival camp.
Yep. From Camp Patton.
They're Camp Patton. Paul Rubens is in this. Paul Rubens, I think this would be around when Pee-wee was starting to kind of take shape on stage.
Yes, it was.
At Second City, but not quite like TV show, right? You would say, probably.
I thought he was a groundling.
Oh, yeah, it was groundling. You're right. It was a groundling because it was, what's his face?
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman, yeah. God bless him. Yes, and the son from the oldest son from what was that show? Wonder Years.
Oh,
he's in this as well.
And, he's a baby in this too.
He's a really young kid in this, and also Archie Hahn, right?
Yes,
who's done a lot of voice work and a lot of character actor work.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who shows up in a lot of things, but you probably recognize him from his voice more than anything. But he used to. I remember because he used to be on the British Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Good night.
Also Donald Gibb, who played Ogre.
Oh yes, he shows up later on. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. You're right. And Kim Richards, who plays Cheryl in this movie, who was in the Escape to Witch Mountain movies for Disney. You might remember her from that.
Perhaps you do. If you're a big Escape from Witch Mountain fan, you would probably do that. Also, the kid that played Eddie, Ralph Seymour, you might know him as the boy that drinks coffee from the Airplane movies. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more grown up now because it's 1984. That movie came out in the 70s, so late 70s. So. There you go, running down the cast. Should we talk about a plot synopsis?
Yeah. I was really confused.
It's easy to get confused about this movie.
I thought, how are they going to come back after he defeated the food-making machine that was taking over the world?
Sure.
And then I realized we weren't doing Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2.
Right, we're not doing that.
We were doing Meatballs 2.
Although there is a sequel to that.
There is.
Yeah.
That's why
Still Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Still don't know why these movies are called Meatballs. I don't know if it's like a camp cafeteria food, but we never had meatballs when I was a camp counselor.
Well, okay, I don't remember if it came up in the first one or not, but the interesting thing is this wasn't a Meatballs movie.
Right, it wasn't a Meatballs movie.
Yeah, it's just like
Camp Sasquatch or whatever it was going to be called. Yeah.
Just like American Psycho 2. And I find that a lot of sequels, like this happens to a lot of movies where they're
I think they just don't know what to make of it, so they just kind of scrunch it with something that is easily more marketable.
It's likable enough, but they don't think it's strong enough on its own, so you just tack it on to something.
Well, I think because, and we'll talk about this, but there's a weird plot point in this movie.
Very weird plot
that point. I think they didn't know how to sell, so maybe that's why they stuck the meatballs thing on there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it makes even
Obviously, Bill Murray is not in this because it's a different camp altogether. It's a different setting, different everything. So no one from the first movie is associated with this movie.
Yes, not at all.
There you go.
All right.
So
I'm ready for a plot synopsis
let's do
because
it. Here
this
goes.
is going to be wild, folks.
Here we go.
If you've seen this movie, go ahead.
The owner of Camp Sasquatch, Giddy, or Coach Giddy, tries to keep his camp open after Hershey, the owner of Camp Patton, located just across the lake, wants to buy the entire lake for Camp Patton. Giddy suggests setting the issue with traditional end-of-summer boxing match over rights to the lake. A tough inner-city punk named Flash is at Camp Sasquatch for community service as a counselor in training. Flash is recruited to box in order to save Sasquatch. Cheryl, a naive teen on whom Flash has set his sights, has never seen a, quote, pinky, so her fellow teenage girl campers arrange for her to see a man naked. Meanwhile, the campers try to hide an alien from another planet.
An alien from another planet.
Who has been dropped off by his parents to learn Earth culture.
Sure.
He is nicknamed Meathead by the kids after repeating one of them saying, "Me, Ted."
Yes. Also, looks like Rob Reiner. So, I mean, same thing. That's why they call him Meathead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's quite a lot to take in. I was hoping that review would not skip over the fact that the alien came in.
I love that it was tacked on to
but it's
end
like,
like
but
an
it's like it's like an afterthought. It's like,
right,
by the way, an alien came into the camp and decided he was going to be a camper with the rest of the kids.
Well, yeah, you have to be.
Okay, whatever. So I think now's the point where we talk that we are no phonies.
Yeah, we are no phonies.
We're no phonies if we're doing this movie.
Yeah.
You would say so.
That's correct.
We're part of the No Phony Podcast Network,
Indeed.
a podcast network, a ragtag podcast network full of independent awesomeness. Any type of podcast you want. We've got sports podcasts. We've got comedy podcasts. We've got dog podcasts. We've got... No, we don't got alien podcasts, do we?
No, we don't.
No.
Conspiracy? Kind of.
Yeah, okay, something like that. Yeah. We've got books podcast. We've got all the podcasts you want is all in one podcast network called the No Phony Podcast Network. Google it, learn it, live it, love it, be it.
That's
No
right.
Phony Podcast
All of those
Network.
things. The
what is the podcast feature of the month, Jeremy?
the podcast feature of the month would be, I will tell you, Lights in the Sky.
Lights in the Sky. There you go.
So, Lights in the Sky, it's a paranormal podcast, so they do talk about...
So they talk about aliens like Meathead from Meatballs 2.
Yes, they do. But that's not the only thing they talk about. They talk about all sorts of the stuff.
Yes.
So, it's not just necessarily that. They talk
Sure.
about a wide variety of things.
Wide variety. So if you've got a conspiracy, you want to hear about it or whatnot, check those guys out on No Phony Podcast Network.
.com.
Do it. .com. Do it. Google it. Love it. Learn it. Live it. Love it. Meatballs 2 is our movie this week. Meatballs 2. A quiet movie about camp and about a boxing match and about an alien who struggles to find his way into a ragtag group of campers learning their way across the nature, you would say. Correct?
Wouldn't say most of that now.
No, you wouldn't say. It's not Citizen Kane?
No.
All right. Where should we start with this, Jeremy?
Gosh, I think, why don't we talk about because there's multiple plots going on.
There is
plot
multiple
lines.
plots going on.
Yeah. So
Yes.
why don't we start off with the boxing kind of.
We can, but can we start at the beginning for a second? Because
Yeah.
I'm actually okay with this opening for some reason,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really lend itself to the rest of the movie. Like, it doesn't really... Like, so the movie starts with Paul Rubens, and he's the bus driver.
Yes. The crazy bus.
The
driver.
crazy bus driver. Like, sit down! He's taking the camp kids to camp, and they get pulled over by the cops.
Yes.
Because they're dropping off
Flash,
because Flash is supposed to be doing his community service with the camp. And then some kid in a wheelchair tries to race the bus to the camp.
And he's beating them.
But why did I like that for some reason?
Because you like Silver Bullet.
I do love Silver Bullet. There's something about Silver Bullet that is just great.
Yeah.
Not a lot of movies that have aliens have kids in wheelchairs, Mac and me. Anyway,
I thought about that too.
Oh, the whole time I was like, Mac and me?
But it's weird. He has this kind of like, just in general, like his chair doesn't just have like a joystick that moves it forward.
Yeah.
It's got like a throttle arm kind of thing that he moves back and forth. So it's an interesting setup.
Tommy Wheelchair McVeigh, not to be confused with Timmy McVeigh, which I don't know who that would be.
Well, it's Tommy McVie.
Oh, McVie?
Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. The joke is better when you say it like that. So there you go. But for some reason, I liked it. It kind of set up the goofiness that we were going to expect, but then it kind of like did not follow through.
Yeah.
After we got to the camp right away. Do you know what I mean?
So they did this thing with, I don't know. They tried to do this thing with all of the kids where they showed them, basically they were kind of showing their personalities. Like there was Larry and Barry, the two twins, who always got confused, like,
I'm Larry. No,
I'm Larry. This
Larry.
is Barry.
Yeah.
And they would keep mixing it up themselves.
Yeah. Those kids would later go on to work at the Pawnee Parks and Rec. Did you know that? Larry? Shut up, Larry.
Oh, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? No, anytime we needed creepy teens on something, there you go. They're played by Paul and Scott Stout.
Yes.
So they kept having, like, there's a couple jokes they had. Like, one of them was like, that's my shirt. No, it's my shirt. And, well, which one does mom love more? Me? Then give me a break and give me the shirt. And, like, they would have a couple jokes like that, which it was like, okay, I get what their personality is. But Ted, who was a kid who has a bunch of taxidermied animals.
That's his character. He just carries around the taxidermy animals.
Butterball, the kid who's just always trading his fruit and whatever for chocolate.
Right.
But he's the only one who has something that carries like almost all the way through. He's just eating candy all the time.
Yeah. But he's eating candy. At least they are not using him as punchlines, though.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
They don't ever.
So, like, they never really do that, which is good.
Tommy, which is or wheelchair.
The wheelchair.
Yeah.
Hey, wheelchair.
But he starts out as this daredevil who's like, I'm here to meet the lady.
Yeah, and then it like never comes to.
He's just a normal kid.
Yeah, he's just like a kid that
and then
loves aliens.
Steve, who is the kid who he's like, hold on. He's like, you want to trade something, or you want to buy some chocolate? And he has like a case full of contraband that he's selling.
Yes,
that has like the little stand legs on the bottom of it. And
I want that, by the way.
Yeah, those are awesome.
I really want that. That's the kid from Wonder Years who plays Kevin's. That is,
played by
Kevin's brother,
Jason Hervey.
Yeah, but when he opened up, like when I told you when he opened up his treasure chest of candy bars, I was like, damn it, an Abba Zaba. No, because it was very like these old school like look bars.
Oh, it wasn't even. It wasn't.
I mean, there's nothing really in name brand in there, like Snickers.
No, there was.
No, I did not see. What was it?
They had Abba Zaba. They had chunky bars too.
Oh, chunky, big deal. It's chunky.
I know.
Anyone remember that? No. But they didn't have like Milky Way or Snickers.
What kid doesn't love chocolate with chocolate bars stuffed with raisins?
What kid doesn't like Snickers?
I know. He can't afford that.
Yeah, that's true.
And those other kids will take what they get.
Yeah.
But like pretty soon, like they're just like, hey, why don't we drop the children's personalities and just
it felt like that. It was like, why don't we drop the children's personalities so they can interact with an alien?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, why? I don't know. We'll talk about the alien.
Yeah, we'll go there
plot
in a minute.
Soon. But let's talk about kind of our main character, because our main character is Flash.
Yeah.
You would say, right?
Yes.
In this movie, Flash is supposed to be the tough, you would say.
Yeah,
if you've seen Wet Hot American Summer, like the Paul Rudd kind of like bad boy kind of, I don't care about it.
his choices were going to reform school or going to 1 month of summer camp.
Which, go to the 1 month of summer camp. It seems like you got a good deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you go to the reform school for a whole year? When you just do a month.
Yeah. And it changed him.
It changed him.
That judge had dead to rights.
He did. It did change him. His whole character is that he's just kind of. It's not like he's not smarmy by any means. He's just kind of a punk.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
And it's almost like. Was it just you? Was it me or was it you that I just feel like. I felt like the stereotypes that 80s movies have, as much as I hate them, I feel like this movie could have used them better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it could have a little bit.
Yeah, we could have used a little bit of a schmarminess, so the lesson that he learns at the end could be a little bit more. But for me, I'm just like this. I maybe it's the actor or something.
Yeah.
I really felt like this was kind of flat to me.
It was like... in Grease they have where Sandy has to let her hair down more, and Danny's like, well, I'll join the team, or whatever, kind of conform a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like that happens almost like in a moment. It's just like there and done.
Yeah, it's just like there and done.
Yeah. And so I feel they were
there's no build up to it.
Yeah. Well, he when he shows up to camp, at first he bumps into Eddie, who is an old friend of his or something.
Yeah.
And says, hey, I got in trouble. This was my punishment. And he's like, I'm supposed to be a CIT, whatever that is. And Eddie tells him, well, it's a counselor in training. So he gets there and he's like, he doesn't want to participate in stuff. But Coach Giddy, played by Richard Mulligan, kind of takes him under his wing and says, hey, I have a guy who's going to box in our big event. He needs a sparring partner. Can you help him? And he kind of, hems and haws about that. But he asks him to, give it a shot. Just try.
Sure, yeah. And he learns at the end of the movie that I don't know. He doesn't really learn anything at the end of the movie, does he? He just fights the guy at the end of the movie.
No, he does.
He does in a way. More the camaraderie of the camp itself, you would say, is what he learns.
Yeah.
And that maybe he's, he's accepted for who he is, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not really written in stone what he learns.
I think he's just learned to let his guard down.
Guard down a little bit, yeah.
Not try to... He doesn't have
tough.
to be whatever badass he's trying to be. He can... he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And so it's just about him seeing that himself.
Now, the Giddy character, of course, is the camp director, who is played by Richard Mulligan.
Yeah.
If you were to do this movie over with and you would have Richard Mulligan in it, that would be a Richard Mulligan.
Yes. Well, that's why it's a sequel, is because they were like...
Get the Mulligan.
They were like...
Get the do-over.
Well, let's do Meatballs again. We're gonna do a do-over, but who would we get in the counselor? We should do a Richard Mulligan. We'll do a Mulligan.
So this is where I think that maybe because they did not utilize him correctly in this movie, or they didn't utilize him enough in the movie. This is where I think that they should have kind of stereotyped the dumb camp director, because he can play the doofus very, very well.
Yes.
His comic timing, especially in Soap and stuff like that, is very doofusy and dorky. And it felt like really he's one note in here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just felt like he's just Giddy. Oh, that's Giddy, the camp director.
Giddy.
I'm like, they really didn't kind of give him a character, right?
Right.
He's just there.
Pretty much.
And I don't know. I'm thinking you're not using him correctly.
I don't think so either.
Right.
Because the parts with him are very short. It's
very short.
You either there's a few times where it's okay, is he the wise kind of guy?
Right.
And
even have that.
He has those moments with Flash.
He could be. Yeah.
Yes. He has those moments with Flash, but then
Especially
it's
at the beginning.
They drop that.
Yeah.
And in the scene where he's training for boxing and stuff.
And why do they drop that? Because they need to add an alien.
Yes, pretty much.
We'll get to it, folks.
And then like the other part of his story is like he kind of has the bumbling thing where he's like, he yells at the chef. The chef thing is weird too.
The chef thing is, I feel like there was deleted scenes that got cut with the chef because there's the chef.
There's a French chef who it's like a cross between like a fancy French chef. That's what they try to make him out to be.
Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, or like in Down Periscope, there's a terrible chef kind of character. Yeah. It's like that, but he. Like he tells him, none of that fancy French food.
Yeah.
Hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries.
But I don't think that was there was that other counselor that had the canoe on his head. That was the more bumbling character, right?
Yeah, he spins around.
And I feel like that's what, I was going to say Richard Dreyfuss, because the dog on Empty Nest. Because the dog on Empty Nest is Dreyfuss, folks, okay? I had Dreyfuss and Empty Nest on the head, okay? Yep. Because Richard Mulligan is known for that. He's won an Emmy for Soap for playing kind of a doofus or a dumb character.
Yeah.
So let him do what he's good at.
Yes.
He did it in Scavenger Hunt, which is another terrible, great movie. I love it.
Boomer, who is the guy who's supposed to be doing the boxing, who's another counselor.
That's the guy that's really dorky and dumb. And
yes.
Yeah.
He is supposed to be the boxer. I think in part of the story that happens with Richard Mulligan's character is the camp from across the way. So Camp Patton,
this is his
this is his other gimmicky thing. From Camp Patton, which is a like military camp, which it's got its own kind of issues.
Yes,
they have purchased the land of Camp Sasquatch from.
Did you say Sasquatch or Sasquatch?
Sasquatch.
Okay,
I said Sasquatch.
I think Sasquatch.
Yeah. Because I just was thinking of a line at the same time. No, they purchased the land from Camp Sasquatch, and so they're going to go take it over.
Well, technically, they purchased it from the chief, the Indian chief.
Yeah,
which they had. They had
the
scene where he goes, "How, where, why, when?" Like you just go back and forth.
Yeah,
which, although racist, kind of funny.
Yeah,
in a way,
the timing of it.
The timing was fine.
Yeah. And that's with Colonel Bat Jack Hershey.
That is his real name, folks. Yes.
Well, but they said that the Sasquatch Indians were the ones who were selling the...
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I was like, the Sasquatch Indians.
The Sasquatch Indians.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Who also was played by Joaquin Martinez. So we're all on the same page.
So, great.
It's Hey Dude all over again.
Hey Dude all over again.
So they sell the land.
Danny comes in.
He says he wants to trade him for it.
Yeah.
And so, but he wants a fair trade and like a very drawn out. Yeah, it's just pretty awkward. So they get the land. They go over there, and of course, Giddy's like, "Well, no, you can't have this," and he's going to come back over. Well, when he comes back, there's Hare Krishnas all over it, and so he's like, "No."
Also played by Paul Rubens.
Yes, which I think it was just them. They weren't really Hare Krishnas. They were just just trying to make it look unappealing.
Sure.
And it's weird, like the kids all come over. They keep coming over on like little military vessels, to.
I actually thought that was kind of funny.
It is.
Where they came in, and also we have to. I would guess you would call him not the co-director, but like I guess the lieutenant.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Felix Foxglove is played by John Larroquette.
John Larroquette,
who I guess is a closet homosexual. We don't know.
Yes.
We assume that he is because every once in a while he has a lisp.
Yeah.
Or talks about women's fashion.
Yeah.
Or has a lisp.
Yeah.
Because those are the only things that homosexuals care about.
Yeah, calls the
Or
colonel
do.
a bitch.
Yes.
Talks about accessorizing with pearls.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Has a closet full of dresses.
Once, I think they were once worn by Marky Post.
They might have been.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this character is interesting to me.
No, is it?
I think it's because it's John Larroquette.
Because, I agree. Because it's John Larroquette, it's interesting.
I think so. There's some moments in here where, like, I feel like John Larroquette is kind of like he doesn't want to do some things over the top.
Yeah.
So he has the lisp and he has little things and like he acts shocked when things happen. Like he does stuff like that. But he's also, there was like one time with the colonel says something about a fairy.
Yeah.
And John Larroquette just turns and looks at him and gives him this look like what the hell?
Like what? Like why would you say that? Yeah.
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 And so I feel like John Larroquette has this role, and they're like, no, more over the top, more like
he's just no,
be a super Nance, and he's like, okay, I'll do this to some degree, but like nothing. Like I really wasn't. I don't know. Like I wasn't overly offended by this portrayal. Like,
I wasn't overly offended by it. I was more overly offended about what was said about him.
Yes.
Through the colonel.
Yes.
Mostly.
But yeah.
But I really wasn't overly offended by him. I just thought but I'm also like, what's the point of having that character exist?
Yeah.
Or having that character trait?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, why write that in there? It just makes no sense to move the plot along.
Yeah, it doesn't.
To have that.
No,
I mean,
it does
I guess,
for one thing, so he can get a dress.
Because he has the dress at the end that Flash wears because they kidnap him.
Yeah, so
because he's skinny dipping.
Yeah, so part of Flash's crossover story here is that the good girl he's trying to get with, who's that Cheryl?
Yes.
She's never seen a dick before, so
Jeremy Pinky.
She's never seen a pinky before.
They keep saying pinky, and were you just like, I was cringing every time they said pinky.
I was like, and at one point they do that thing I told you where in movies that aren't so great where they keep doing a list of things. Yes. She goes, they called him a dork.
Yeah, a dork.
But they were calling him like the legit original term of dork.
Oh, dork, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was like, what?
And she goes, well, is he always going to be a dork? And they're like, a dork. Like, a dork.
A dork.
And she goes, okay. And so she goes, no.
And then she
starts saying
euphemisms
listing like euphemisms for a penis.
Yes.
And
including
I was like,
pinky, which gets said 4 or 5 times in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, every time I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's like on the same line of pencil dick. Like, I hate that term for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I do. But it reminds me of that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I was just like, I was with you. I was just like, please stop saying
please
that.
Stop saying pinky.
I would rather you have said dork. But
just say dork. Yeah.
Or say penis.
Or even be creative. More creative than pinky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Oh. Only because I know some guys, and I would say thumb over pinky. I'm just saying. Anyway. So back to the John Larroquette. So he has the dress on, and it's one of his dresses, and that's where you get the whole fairy.
He gets kidnapped because the friends keeps trying to set up for her to see a penis, and
just say, at this point, say pinky.
Well, I can't say penis now.
Penis is so clinical.
You can't say penis.
Dick.
I didn't say dick either. I just said penis.
Dork.
So they're trying to set up for the friends are trying to set up for Cheryl to see somebody's schwanz, and then they
see his Sasquatch.
They're trying to see his Sasquatch. So first they get Eddie to come in and Flash, but the kids overhear the deal, so they switch the cabin numbers, which means that Eddie goes in to Flash the counselor woman, Fanny, and Archie Hahn goes to Flash the children, or go to get with the children. And so they dive out the windows and whatever. because they realize the mistake and run away, which was an awkward scene.
This is it played out very slow. That's what made it awkward.
Yes, it did.
I'm just like, we get the joke. Let's go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, they both dive out the windows and then go to run. And then Eddie just flashes Archie Hahn like, I didn't come all this way for somebody
nothing.
Not to see my...
Someone's going to see my pinky.
Somebody's going to see it.
So
Yeah. And so, anyway, so then they're like, well, that didn't work. Let's set him up to go skinny dipping. So when they set him up to go... I'm just thinking of the scene in my head and realize how awkward it is. Like I said, they set him up to go skinny dipping. She doesn't know that's what's happening. Flash does know. And so he's like, well, it's, she thinks they're seeing shooting stars. And so he's like, well, let's go by the water. Let's go into the water. And so he goes over and he's stripping down. So he's naked.
Yeah.
She is like, almost got her like 80s bubble vest thing, puffy vest off. And then she's like, wait a minute. And so she starts going over there. Well, he's already in the water. A bear is like going through his clothes. An invasion force from Camp Patton has.
I guess you would call it an escape from Twitch Mountain or something like that.
We could.
Okay, there we could. I'm just saying because she was in those movies, Jeremy. They're not all great jokes.
Yes,
just to let you know.
I do.
Yeah, you know that.
I do.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So her friends in the meantime are all up in the tree laughing, and the escape from Bitch Mountain.
I was gonna say that, but I was nicer.
Her friends, I don't know what the deal is. Yeah. They're just wanting to also get a peek or just to laugh at her. I'm not quite sure. So yeah, the stink ladies.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I think they're just laughing because they're kids. So they're just laughing.
Yeah. So the stink ladies are up in the tree just watching them, trying to wait to see what's going to happen.
The stink ladies?
Yes.
Because they're like the pink ladies, only lamer.
Yes.
Or not, I shouldn't say that, sorry. Not as cool.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. The stink ladies.
The stink ladies. Gotcha.
So this whole like trail of events happens where it's like the girl Cheryl screams when she sees the bear. The military people just start like firing into the night. They hit the tree branch and the friends fall out of it. And as the tree branch comes down, it knocks out Flash. The bear runs past Archie and Fanny in the woods who stop trying to sneak off to get it on. So on and so forth.
So yeah.
So whatever. they have a naked Flash and they kidnap him and run away. They've already come and invaded once because they beat up Boomer.
Right, because Boomer was originally going to box.
Yeah, he was. And so now they've kidnapped somebody to say like, hey, what's the plan or who's going to be boxing from whatever, not realizing they kidnapped the boxer.
Yeah. So then he comes back to the camp wearing the John Larroquette's dress.
Yeah, Foxglove is the only door that's open when he wakes up, and all that are in there are dresses. No, I'm sorry. No, there's not. He did find pants.
Yes, chose not to wear those pants.
A rainbow shirt instead.
Wore a nice black dress instead.
Let me get this black cha-cha dress on. Mm-hmm. Seems like a reasonable
cha-cha
plan.
heels, but yes, the dress was cha-cha.
Yeah, correct.
There's a lot going on to this movie.
Converse.
Yeah, there's a lot of plots going on to this movie that make sense that they would be in a camp movie.
Yeah.
There is one that doesn't make sense that it's in a camp movie, and that would be that
the chef continually eating horses.
The chef continually eating horses, which is wonderful. Yes, correct. That one too. But I would say about when does the alien come in?
It's in the first.
It's in the first act?
Third? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it's after we met all the kids.
Yes.
His alien family drops him off.
Yes. Archie and Fanny, we see an alien.
How would you describe what these aliens look like?
Imagine if you had a candle.
Mm-hmm.
Or like if you had a chocolate Easter bunny in the car.
Okay.
And it slowly melts.
Sure.
So you can still see its face.
Not where I'm going, but yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
But it kind of looks droopy and pruny.
Sure.
But also it's gray.
Imagine an old guy in a pool, right?
Yeah.
And the shrinkage that the dork of the old guy has, right?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It kind of has that really weird kind of... I don't know. It's kind of this melted, really weird head that it has, you would say. It's gray or greenish, kind of.
Yeah, gray.
It's very obvious that this is an alien or a puppet alien. And he also wears a rain slicker. Like, even when it's not raining.
Yeah.
To blend in.
He starts out with, wants to blend in, and they tell him, you're going to have to wear clothes. And he's like, no, I don't want to wear clothes. And they're like,
we got to hide you from all the other campers.
Well, no,
so
his parents told him that.
Oh, okay.
So, first off, this puppet, well, and it's a guy walking around in the suit, and it's got an animatronic face.
Right.
Personally, like, I'm okay with the build of, like, the face.
I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with the body.
The body's awkward. The hands don't actually work.
Don't do anything.
Yeah, they flail.
That's why he walks through buildings.
Yes. But yeah, he puts on a hat.
Yeah.
To blend in.
It also feels like the lines were just put in later.
They were.
Okay.
Well, they probably read them off camera and then dubbed them because Archie Hunt. And Archie Hunt is one of those things. I'm not a fan of his voice work.
Okay.
I don't think his voice work is funny. I know he probably does, but I do not.
It's like he played. I swear he played the parents too.
He did do the parents.
They all sound the same.
Yeah.
One sounds higher. The other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like
the father sounded like this like stereotypical like old Jewish man.
Old Jewish man. Yeah.
And so it was very odd.
You go here. Take your little rain slicker. You gotta go to camp.
Yeah.
Okay, Dad. Thanks.
And
Jewish alien.
Yeah,
with a melvac. Holy shishka.
So they go to they end up seeing him because they were they all go out to go to the bathroom in the morning.
Yes.
And they can't get the door open. And so Wheels is like, here, I have a grappling hook with like a chain that we can hook to my wheelchair, attach it to the door, and so they rip the door open.
Yeah.
And here's an alien inside.
Did you feel like they were going to use that later on? I felt like, if they're going to use this now, maybe they're going to use that later on, right?
I thought more stuff was going to happen with
the wheelchair kid.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I was just like, let's do more with the wheelchair kid.
But that's the last time that those twins had the gag too. The kids.
Oh, everyone loses their gag.
Yeah, the kid goes.
Those look bars melted by then.
They showed the bars right before they went out.
Yeah,
too. Like that. All this stuff ended.
Yeah.
The twins did the joke with well, I have to go. Well, I want to go first.
Yeah.
Well, I was born first. Yeah. So give me a break and let me do this one. You know, like it was like okay. But that's the last time you hear any of those kind of gags.
For the most part.
Yeah, because we're done character building. Now it's about the stupid alien.
Now it's about the stupid alien named Meathead.
Well, one of the kids goes, who are you? Me, Ted. And so then the alien repeats, me, Ted. And they said, did he say meathead? And he repeats it again.
Perfect.
And they're like, yep, meathead, I guess.
Perfect.
But the weird thing to me is, like, you just heard him speaking.
Right?
Fluently.
You just heard him say.
Scenes before.
Right.
Like, and now he's like, me, and so,
okay.
And then right after this, he speaks fluent.
Yeah,
well.
I don't get that either.
Yeah.
No.
But we learned some things about Meathead.
I guess.
When his eyes glow red,
he's smoking pot.
He walks through walls.
He walks through walls.
Which scares
He levitates stuff with his eyes.
Yes,
glowing.
He does. When his eyes also turn green.
Right.
When I think he's sad.
I think so. When he smokes pot, he lifts up in the air.
Yeah.
And then he coughs.
So at first they were like, okay, we're gonna put you out. There's a bunch of like old outhouses. You can stay out there. And he's like, okay, like to hide. So he stays out there, and it starts storming really bad. And the kids feel bad. They're like, oh, we should think about getting him. And then he walks through the wall, and he's like, I can't stay out there. They scream, which brings Flash in. but they kind of hide him.
Yeah.
And everything's fine, but he's like showing up to things with them. And
Yeah,
like, nobody,
no one notices that they see a movie. By the way, the director of this movie directed a movie called Shockwave.
Yeah.
They're watching. That's the movie they're watching in the movie itself. So they're watching that. He shows up. He's got the rain slicker on. I don't know how anyone doesn't notice that it's an alien until the colonel at the boxing match goes, "It's an alien. Look."
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
But we do need to talk about the pot scene.
Well, yeah. So Flash the kids are all out.
Yeah.
And Flash is like, I'm going to get high.
Right.
And so he's smoking on the couch.
He takes 2 hits.
Yes.
And then sees an alien.
Yeah, and then the meathead walks through the wall.
And he looks down at the joint.
Yeah. And looks back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm meathead.
Yeah. And so Flash throws the joint because he's like, uh-oh,
yeah.
I think that's got PCP in it.
Yeah.
Like flicks it across the room and it levitates to Meathead, who takes a puff.
Yes.
And then his eyes immediately turn glowing red. And he lifts into the air and floats
and
for a minute.
Coughs.
And then comes back down.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't happen in Mac and Me.
No.
No way. So pot smoking alien.
Yeah.
A kid in a dress at a boxing match.
Yeah.
A Nance of a guy named John Larroquette. Right? Kids who have lost their identity. This movie has it all.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Kid with a speeding.
You know, if they're gonna, okay, we also have to talk about the boxing match at the end of the movie. So this is the grand finale, the boxing match. They have put everything on the line. This is if you win the boxing match, you'll get the land. If I win the boxing match, I will win the land.
Yes.
And of course, Flash has gone missing. We've been feeding meat in a cage.
Yes.
Camp Panton has
to Mad Dog.
Yeah, to Mad Dog. And we have let him loose, and it's the ogre guy from Revenge of the Nerds, which I was just like the whole time I was like, that's who's going to come out of that box.
Well, yeah, you knew it was.
You knew it was. It's early '90s. That guy from Revenge of the Nerds is going to come out.
Well, yeah, he's contractually,
and he looks like the human version of the Muppet animal. He's even like Mad Dog.
Yeah,
he's got a chain around his neck, and it looks like they're holding him. And he's ready to fight. But where is our fighter for Camp Sasquatch? He's late because, of course, they kidnapped him. And he comes in and he's wearing a nice cha-cha dress.
Yeah. To which John Larroquette's like,
oh, that's my dress.
That's my dress.
Right.
So he gets... is going...
It gets knocked around a lot.
Yeah, well, earlier he beat Boomer up pretty good. So now he's boxing, and he's getting his ass handed to him.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a few good hits in, but otherwise he's getting knocked around pretty good. And at one point, he gets hit, and he is, like, dazed on the ground. And they're like, oh, no, we're going to lose. And... no, Meathead's not going to let that happen.
Yes.
So he raises him up, and he still looks kind of dazed. And
I swear you can see the wires a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he punches him.
Although I wanted him to be like dazed throughout this whole thing, and just like
me too,
awesome
and be like, I won.
Like, yeah,
how did I win?
What happened?
Yeah, I kind of did too. I'm with you on that one. So,
but instead of that, like he gets up. And when he goes to like hit him, Flash starts flying in the air, and so he's like spinning, flying around, and it's pretty awkward. Like he's twirling in the air, like bops him on the head, twirls around. Bops
he better not tear my dress.
Yeah, says Foxglove. He better not tear that dress. But yeah, it's pretty awkward. It's a pretty goofy fight thing. And so
he eventually knocks him out.
Well, and before he does that, like Colonel Hershey is watching across the way.
The only person to ever see that that's an alien besides the kids.
He goes, what? And he takes
an alien.
He takes Foxglove's binoculars.
Odd.
And goes, an alien. And then
breaks the binoculars
them with his hands. They look like they're made out of Legos.
Yes.
And it's not just one crush. It's like
a couple crushes.
He does it for like 30 seconds.
Like in high school, a couple crushes.
Yeah. And then he heads over there with a hand grenade, and which still has its pin in it.
Yeah.
He's going to throw it under their
wheels.
Because he's trying to crawl into their wheels. Gets up out of his wheelchair and stumbles a few steps to like knock him down. That's when Meathead loses his focus and looks down. Well, so Flash drops to the mat, but he does end up knocking out Mad Dog.
Right.
In the meantime, Meathead takes the hand grenade because he can't do anything with it or move because he's a big goofy puppet. He flies the hand grenade after the Colonel, and presumably blows him up outside.
Evidently.
Well, but then he gets away in a stretcher.
He gets away in the stretcher and says, "Deal's a deal." So
yeah.
So the camp's been saved.
Yes, the camp has been saved.
The next day, the kids are all going home.
Yeah, Meathead's parents
pick him up. You know.
There was. I should go back. I forgot about this.
Go
ahead.
The
scene where they're high,
or
where he's high. The kids show up again after he floats and everything.
Yeah,
and they're just like, "Oh my god!" And he's like, "Wait, you see him too?" He goes, "Wait, so he's real?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he goes, "How long's he been here?" They're like 3 weeks. And he goes, "How come I never noticed?" And they go, "Nobody has."
Yeah. Why have you not noticed this?
Yeah. And he goes,
"He's an alien."
But
it's obvious.
He has this moment. He goes, "Huh?" He goes, I guess I really haven't been around to notice, though, huh?" Like he kind of like
it took an alien and marijuana, to pull him together and have an epiphany.
He kind of realizes that he's been a jerk and stuff to the kids.
No, really that's why I said it took an alien and marijuana.
Yeah, and so it was kind of if there was something to pull out, that was kind of an okay moment.
Oh, I don't think it's not an okay moment.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It's just weird that's the aesthetic that got us there.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's very odd. Can we go back way at the beginning when the kids are being dropped off? There's a nice cameo by our favorite comic, Elaine Boozler. I just wanted to say that. Elaine Boozler drops one of the kids off.
And she had some funny jokes.
She did have some funny jokes. And actually, the parents had funny jokes when they were dropping the kids off. I was like,
agreed.
Can we follow them? Because I'm going to assume they're funny. Yeah. And so the kids are getting picked up and getting on the bus to go home. And Meathead is going home as well. So he's on the spaceship. Where's Mom? Mom's making you a nice dinner.
Your favorite glip.
Your favorite glibberglop. Don't worry, it's kosher. And so they fly in their flying saucer, and we get the nice song that comes along with Meatballs 2, which you'll hear later on. And then the end of the movie shows the flying saucer, like we give a fuck about the flying saucer again.
Yes.
And did you have a fine time at camp? Did you learn everything? Sure did. Blah, blah, blah. We did not need that. Credits roll, and you've been deuced.
Hooray.
On Meatballs 2. I don't think they needed that at the end.
No.
You know what I mean?
So either.
But that's just me. There's a lot going on in this movie. Like, I just feel like this could have used, I don't know, not an alien. It could have used a rewrite, and also could have used a rewrite, and also could have used a rewrite. Well, having said that, there were some shining moments in it.
They needed to figure out what their focus was: the camp and the counselors, or is it the kids?
Or the kids, the camp and the counselors, kids, or the alien, or the rival camp.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot going on, but all right, let's do our 5 questions.
What do you think was the best part of this movie?
There are a lot of things. Like I was telling you, this is just not connected very well. There's a lot of plot going on. Did not enjoy the alien. I thought if you're going to do an alien, make that the movie.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Make that the funny moments of the movie. Meatballs 2 is just the alien movie.
Yeah.
You know, where we're hiding the camper. There wasn't a lot of like. I felt like this movie should have had more physical comedy in it, and it did, but it didn't have enough for me that a camp movie did. But kind of my favorite was Paul Rubens, because Paul Rubens was like, he was kind of a jack of all trades in this, where he just was not. It's just, you could tell he was having fun when he was doing every scene that he was in.
You could almost see some of the things going into Pee-wee later.
Kind of, yes, in a way, but you could also tell that what brought everyone joy in the first movie was Bill Murray, and Bill Murray improv'd a lot of his lines in the first movie. I felt like Pee-wee actually improv'd a lot of the physical comedy of this movie.
Yes.
And I appreciated that, because it brought a little bit of something to it that needed it.
I agree.
I think if you don't have Pee-wee, it's really is a bad movie.
Yes, agreed. I don't think they used him. They quite had enough.
Right.
I think you missed an opportunity to have him interact with the alien.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, I think that would have been fun.
And just kind of like look at each other.
Yeah.
Because they're just kind of aliens themselves.
Yeah.
You know, kind of 2 in 1. You kind of look at them and then boom, nothing. Like I said, like, why get the rival camp thing? These camp stories have rival camps, but that kind of falls flat. I don't know. Just like the physical comedy in this movie is probably the best part, and we were lacking that as well. So that's my favorite part.
Honestly, John Mangiotti, or however you pronounce it, the guy who played Flash. I thought he did a good job. I think that
I didn't like him at the beginning. I thought like towards the end he was better.
Yeah. Well, as soon as he got to, like, when he got on the bus, it was like, this character.
Yeah, right.
But once he got to the camp and you started seeing, like, he had other expressions and other things he was doing, like you could see that, like, his guard was getting let down, or, like, kind of what he was really thinking. It wasn't just one-dimensional as a character. Like, I started feeling more about, like, you know, hey, maybe he has troubles, or maybe he's going through certain things. Like, I felt a lot more of that character, and I thought he did a good job of portraying that without needing to necessarily be over the top with it. I think some of the things he worked through weren't the greatest, but like, honestly, like when we were focused on him more and like what he was doing and who he's interacting with, especially like when I almost wanted more of him interacting with the kids.
I did too.
Especially like towards the end. I was like, well, now that you know the secret, why don't you buddy up with them more? Yeah.
Also thought the weak part of the scripts is kind of you have too much going on, but the best part of the script was the wordplay.
Yes.
I thought the wordplay was actually very well done, and I thought it just was sprinkled not enough in the movie.
Yes.
Where it kind of made it awkward.
Yeah, you either needed more
or you needed like
more wordplay.
Right.
And you gave both. You didn't give us enough of either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so would you reboot, continue, or cancel?
Based on this movie, I would cancel. Yeah. But my personal opinion is that I'm all for rebooting this into a modern time, but they kind of did that with Wet Hot American Summer. But they didn't, because Wet Hot American Summer is more of a parody of all this.
Yeah.
You could have something that is more heartfelt and kind of gross out comedy that you get nowadays. I think that comedy has come a long way since then. And I think that you could actually reboot this if you wanted to into maybe a series that lasted a summer. But my personal opinion is cancel.
Yeah, well, and they already had a couple of...
right, I mean, Meatballs 3, Meatballs 4.
Meatballs 3 Summer Job, which does have connections to the first one. Because they were like, they had to bring it back. And then Meatballs 4. So, yeah, like, I try to look for enough out of it to be like, hey, I want to, keep it going. Because I think there were some admirable pieces about it.
I think so, too. It just falls flat.
I just don't feel like there's enough that would make me want to keep this going. So I'd probably cancel it as well.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But knowing the history of the first Meatballs and and some where they were trying to go.
Yeah.
If they did bring it back, I might check it out.
Yeah.
Just to see, because nowadays comedy, you know.
I feel like this was like lending itself to be like a Punky Brewster-esque kind of cartoon.
Yeah.
Where we have the kids and then.
Well, you think about this movie, like I think about Meatballs, and I was like, I didn't know really what Meatballs was for a long time. I thought, oh, these body like teen movies like Porky's, you know, where women are walking around with their tops off or whatever, diving in. There's not a lot of that in this movie. It's very PG in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some vulgarity, but it's really not that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The comedy is not that. It's almost a little bit toned down in a way.
I would agree. Somebody said, I think one of the reviews that I just briefly passed by said, it's a teen sex comedy with no sex in it.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And they kind of needed it, to tell you the truth, but that's just me. But go ahead.
Or it needed to be either, again,
it needed to be body
to decide
or
whether
not.
you're going to be either kiddie or you're going to be adult.
Exactly right.
And you were in between. You need to decide if it was going to be slapstick or if it was going to be wordplay. And you were in between again. And so it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
When you try to be everything, you fall flat.
What's our next question?
Next question is, does this stand on its own?
Yes, this does stand on its own. There's no connection with the first movie that I see in this. I think that you don't really need to know anything about the first movie to get this movie.
Nope, you sure don't.
I think you need to know more about Mac and Me to get this movie.
Yes,
but I think it does stand on its own.
Yeah, I think it stands on its own as well.
Having said that, that's literally, it's not a good thing that it's standing on its own.
It's not connected at all. So I mean, it does stand on its own. If I would say though, if I hadn't watched the first one, I would be super freaking confused though, because
I wouldn't.
I would be like, were there aliens in the other one? Like, I would think maybe that was like a
but I mean, they explain it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
but
is that a through thread? No, right. It's not. But
I think it almost goes. It's almost too standalone. To where the point where I would be like, who's from the first movie? Who's from this? Like, I would be confused.
Well, I mean, obviously the camp's a different name, so
right, but I wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't watched it. Yeah. I would be really confused whether it was the same camp or a different. Like what?
But it stands on its own. But like you said, it's almost too much.
Almost too stand on its own. Would you watch the first one, or does it make you want to watch?
I would watch the first one, but this movie does not make me want to watch the first one. If anything, Bill Murray makes me want to watch the first one.
Yeah.
Having said that, these aren't necessarily the movies I go towards.
Yeah.
Especially summer movies.
Right.
It's just camp, raunch and kind of fun movies. But there's an audience for these movies, and that's fine. Go for it. But it does not make me want to watch the first one. Doesn't make me want to watch the third one. It's sad to say it doesn't make me want to watch this again.
Yeah. So. It does make me want to watch the first one.
Really?
Well, only because I think the alien aspect is such a curve. I think it's such a... it's what I think.
I know, but...
I think it's such a curveball that I would be like, wait, what did I miss in the first one?
I don't think you need to miss anything in the first one to get, like I said.
Well, no,
if there's an alien in the first one,
that
is awful. Think about it.
I'm not saying it's not standing on its own.
I'm just saying there's no alien in the first one.
Well, I know that because I've already seen it.
But you know that anyway.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you would.
I wouldn't.
The typical, come on. You're playing me.
No, I'm not.
You gotta be.
If I hadn't seen the first one, I would be like, was this something from the first one that I need to know about?
No.
I would.
Okay. Perhaps.
Sum up your experience in 2 words.
Camp nowhere is my 2 words, because this movie goes it goes nowhere because there's too much plot going on. It just needs to choose where it wants to go. I think if this movie, I feel like they were like, someone was doing a camp movie. Okay, we need to get it out, and make it Meatballs 2. Well, I'm not done with the script quite yet. I don't know if I want it to be an alien comes down, or like this rival camp thing. I feel like the writer wasn't ready yet. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If they were, I'm like, no. But I feel like they weren't, and they're like, no, but we need to go. Let's go. Let's make this thing. Because it needs some rewrites. But again, this movie, like a lot of movies that we review that aren't really up to the standards, they have potential.
Yeah.
Like I saw potential in this movie.
Yes, exactly.
But through the exhaustedness of the plot, I just didn't. I don't even know if it could have been saved. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's again like enjoyable aspects, and I can see like, ooh, if you'd have fleshed this out, that'd have been great,
right?
Or things like that. But yeah, it's like it just didn't get to that point. My 2 words were bummer camp.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah, because it's like
it really is a bummer.
As soon as the alien shows up, I'm like, oh shit!
Oh,
it's gonna be off the hook.
Shit just got real.
Yeah.
I know, like we were like the alien, boom. This is gonna be mad shit crazy.
Yeah.
Nope. Not even like to where it was bad to be like where you could laugh at it bad. Like I don't even think you could have a bad, like this is not a bad good bad movie. If that makes sense.
Yes.
It just falls flat.
It does.
Which is sad because there were some very talented people in this movie.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So
I agree.
Yeah. So there you go. You've been deuced on that. That finishes our series of summer comedies. Look for later on next month. We'll be doing some summer horror movies. That should be fun. I'm excited about that. But before that, we're going to do a Jeremy choice and Bradley choice. Jeremy's choice is first. Have you decided what you want yet, Jeremy?
I have not.
You have not. I have decided, but I'm going second. Unless you want me to go first.
Well, we'll see what happens next week.
So stay tuned for a mystery episode. We don't know what we're doing, but remember, folks, as always, the sequel is king.